Hi, and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that be linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Don't forget, you can watch this show or listen to us on all of your streaming platforms right now. So make sure you check it out. And also, just before I get into the transfers, to remind you about the Claude Cup taking place this week, Saturday, at the New River Sports Centre in London. If you haven't already got your tickets, click the link in the description. Come along. Celebrity game, AFTV All-Stars versus DR Sports All-Stars. It's going to be brilliant on the day. All proceeds going to the Gunnar Claude Trust. Rest in peace, Claude. And Claude would be very interested to know what's going on with all the transfers at the moment regarding Arsenal. This one was big news around about last night, and it's all about Thomas Partey. Now, Fabrizio Romano putting it out there yesterday that Thomas Partey could leave Arsenal this summer. And you know, listen, already we've been told that Granit Xhaka looks like he's going to be leaving, going to Bayer Leverkusen. Thomas Partey leaving as well. I mean, that's two real big players in from our midfield from last season. So could Arsenal take that plunge and make Thomas Partey go? Partey, of course, now is 30, and he's got 2 years left on his deal. So it is getting to that stage where a decision has to be made. You know what I mean? Are we going to keep him? And if we are keeping him, maybe an extension on that contract, or are we going to let him go? As I said, 30 years old now. There has been interest, according to Fabrizio Romano, from several clubs, most of those clubs in Europe, and also from Saudi Arabia. And this would be appealing, I guess, on two fronts. Appealing to Thomas Partey, I guess, because they'll be willing to pay him the huge fees that we're seeing being paid at the moment. And also to Arsenal, because that means that they could probably get a huge transfer fee for him and reinvest. We know the type of players that they're looking at the moment, and they're all very expensive. So could Thomas Partey leave Arsenal this summer? Are Arsenal running a risk by getting rid of two experienced players in Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka if these rumours are true? And could he be the next player to be heading to Saudi Arabia? I saw yesterday that Ruben Neves of Wolves has just joined that exodus over to Saudi Arabia. Now, you know what I mean? He's not in his 30s. You know what I mean? He's one of the younger players. I said this the other day that the way the Saudis are going, they're going to start like going after those players under 30, or those players that are still playing at a very, very high level, not coming towards the end of their career. And Ruben Neves and N'Golo Kante's on his way out there. Koulibaly, I think, from Chelsea. Chelsea, by the way, doing a little bit of sneakiness, I think, because I think I saw something where the Saudi funders invested a bit in Chelsea. Now, all of a sudden, all these players that Chelsea need to get rid of going over to Saudi, them getting a fee for it that they can then use to reinvest. I mean, listen, I'm just saying, right? If Thomas Partey goes, surely Declan Rice has to be coming in. And this is a big week, I think, for two big deals. The one for Declan Rice and the one, of course, for Kai Havertz. Declan Rice, we all know about that last week. Arsenal went in for him, 80 million, turned down. West Ham unhappy at how that deal was constructed. First of all, unhappy with the amount, and unhappy with how it's constructed over said to be 6 years. I think Arsenal went back in and said, all right, we'll pay it over 2 years. Still turned down. Arsenal set to go back in this week with the big £100 million bid. Can this one get done? I expect a lot of movement on deals this week, because last week there's still been a lot of football being played internationally, you know what I mean? And Havertz and Rice being involved internationally. They also, you know, also with Rice coming off the back of, you know, playing in this Conference League final. This could be the big week when some of these deals get done. So the Declan Rice one, critical this week. Manchester City still in the background, according to reports, monitoring the situation, you know, wanting to know what's happening. And when you hear that, you get worried. So can Arsenal get it done? As I said yesterday, they seem to be very confident that they can. Let's see if they can do that. And the Kai Havertz thing, they seem to be very confident that they will get this one done. The fee being floated around by a lot of outlets is £60 million. Of course, we know that Chelsea wanted 75 million. But Arsenal looking at coming in for about 60 million. They already did at 55, and that was turned down. Could this one be done this week? Havertz only wants to come to Arsenal. Arteta loves Havertz, sees this as a real opportunity to sign a player that is going on the cheap. I don't think this was one of those signings that at the start of the window maybe Arsenal had planned for, but they're just like too good to let go, and they're going all in for Havertz. So let's see if those two deals get done this week. This was an interesting one that I saw. Alexis Sanchez, of course, formerly of Arsenal, played for Arsenal way back in 2018, was brilliant, had a brilliant spell for Arsenal. But then, sorry, did I say played back for us in 2018? Left us in 2018. But he did have a brilliant spell with us, won the FA Cup with us, was a really, really exciting player, fans' favourite. Then in 2018, what does he go and do? He goes to Manchester United. Big fail. All of the fans were very upset about that. He went to Manchester United, didn't work out for him. I mean, one of the flops of all time. He even said that from the first day he got there, he wanted to come back to Arsenal. However, he has gone on with his career. He joined Marseille last season, and you know what? He had a good season. You know, I was looking at his stats. I think he scored 17 goals in all competitions. Now, it's being reported by a Chilean publication called La Carrera that he got in contact with Mikel Arteta personally and asked Mikel Arteta if he can rejoin Arsenal. The talk is that this was swiftly rejected by Mikel Arteta. I don't know how swiftly that happened, but it was swiftly rejected by Mikel Arteta, who said, no, thank you. So he won't be joining Arsenal. But that was a really interesting one there about Alexis Sanchez. Wouldn't surprise me if he'll be another one of those players heading over to Saudi Arabia. But interesting that he wanted to come back to Arsenal. It's not always greener, the grass on the other side, is it? What about Marc Guehi of Crystal Palace? Now, before the transfer window opened, this was a player that Arsenal were being linked with. A lot of people saying that, you know, Mikel Arteta really interested in him. I think, could do with another centre-back. I really do. He's a top-quality centre-back. He's had another outstanding season for Crystal Palace. He's in the England squad. I mean, he really is a player on the rise and still only 22. Now, according to the Daily Mail, Crystal Palace are resigned to the fact that they're going to lose Marc Guehi this summer. They're actually chasing a player called Per Schurz of Torino as a potential replacement for Marc Guehi. Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, and Man United said to be the clubs that are interested in him. He would cost around about £50 million. So it wouldn't be cheap. But will Arsenal follow through on that interest in Marc Guehi? That's going to be one to be seen throughout the summer. Personally, I would like to see a bit of extra cover in that centre-back position. I fully expect Rob Holding to leave this summer. We've seen the injury issues with Saliba, even though he's going to be signing a new contract, which is absolutely fantastic. But look how long he was out for last season. We've got Champions League games coming up. You know, we've got, you know, all the other competitions. It's a long season. And if you've got a back issue, that can reoccur at any time. So getting in somebody of that quality that, you know, will give, you know, not just a backup, but great competition for that place would be brilliant. But would Arsenal outlay that amount? Going to be interesting to see. And finally, Kieran Tierney. Now, all the talk's been that Kieran Tierney is going to be on his way out of Arsenal and heading to Newcastle. That seems to be the team that's been in for him for quite a while. However, lots of reports around saying that Newcastle have cooled their interests on Kieran Tierney. They're said to be chasing Marc Cucurella now of Chelsea and not so interested in Tierney no more. Aston Villa was another club who seemed to be interested in Tierney, but they've not really come forward. Could it actually end up that Tierney stays at Arsenal because there's no real interest in taking him anywhere else. Again, it's going to be one that's going to run throughout the summer. But Newcastle apparently have switched now to Marc Guehi of Chelsea. So if that's what goes down, we could all, I get my wish of Tierney staying. I want Tierney to stay at Arsenal. I think he's a good player, good defender, and I still think he's got a role to play. But definitely hasn't fitted into the Arteta system. Going to be interesting to see what happens with Kieran Tierney's few players. As I said right at the start, Partey, what's going to happen with him? Xhaka. Can we afford to let both of those go? I really want to hear from you guys. Yes, I know we've been linked with Rice and we've been linked with Lavia, but to let two experienced players like that go in the same window seems a big risk to me, because you're losing a lot of experience going through the door. So would love to hear from you guys. Remember, Champions League football next season. Listen, thanks for watching the show. As I said, you can get your tickets for the Claude Cup by clicking the link in the description. Also, watch us on all your streaming platforms, and I will be back tomorrow. Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.